Hi everyone, Michael Linzar here, and in this third week of Rails Dispatch, brought to you by our friends at EngineYard, I'm going to dive right into the new ActionMailer API. With version 3 of Rails, ActionMailer has really been given a full overhaul. We've really turned ActionMailer with this release into, something that's actually part of the entire Rails family, which is great. In this short screencast, I'm going to rapidly walk you through creating an application from scratch that sends out emails to new users as they sign up. It'll cover the basics and then also show you how to send multi-part emails and even add attachments, all without cheating, as Yehuda puts it. By the end of this, you should be able to see that it's now a fast and quite painless process to get mailers happening in your application. First thing we'll do is just make sure that we've got the right version of Rails, create the mailer application just directly and let that run. You need beta 3 to do this, so yeah, make sure you got that. Just do a quick bundle install. Obviously I've sped all this up a bit. And then the first thing we'll do there is we'll just generate a scaffold for the user, and we'll just give the guy a name, an email address as a string, and then just a message which we can type anything in. Hit enter on that, let it create all of its stuff, and then run the migration to generate all the tables. And then what we need to do is we need to create the mailer. So Rails has got a generator for this. You just go Rails generate mailer, and then you just give it a name. We'll call it a notifier. And Rails will go off and create that notifier and get it all set for you. So now we'll just start the server, because that's actually all we need to do at the command line here. And once that's started up, another good idea is to make sure that your SMTP server is running. So on the Mac, you can just do postfix start. That'll fire up the SMTP server. You need to run it as root, obviously. And once that's started, tail off the mail log, var log, mail log, and then we can just make sure things are happening. So here's our app. Obviously we've got the controller, the user's controller, and in the mailers directory, it's a new thing, is now the notifier. First things first, we'll replace our from address, put our name in it, and then we'll go ahead and create the welcome email method. And we're going to pass in a user object to this. We'll assign an instance variable name to be the username and the message to be the user message. These then become available in the template. And then we just call the mail method, and we pass in the to address, and we'll give it a subject. G'day, mate. Looks good. The only other thing we now need to do is we need to create a email view, like a template. So we'll just call it welcome email. You give it a text because it's going to be plain text and it's an ERB template. So in here we're just going to access that name instance variable we created. We'll type a short little message here. Welcome to our system. And then we'll tell him he said the following. So we'll pass in the message that we type on the form. Obviously you wouldn't do this on a real system, but this will demonstrate how it all works. So that's it. The only other thing we need to do is send the email. So here in the create method on the users method, just call notifier, welcome email, and pass in our user object. And that returns a mail message, so we need to call deliver on that to actually send it on its way. And that's it. So now what we do is we jump into our browser, go to users new. Here's our new user scaffold. Type in the guy's name and an email address, and we'll just type in a message to show you how it generates that ERB template. Hit create, and it should be a success. And it was. Good. So now we jump into the console, and we can look here that yes, we've created a message. It's text plain. It's got our text in it. All good. And then in the log, yep, it's sent it. It's been removed from the queue. Should be able to jump into the mail, and there it is. There's our email. Simple as that. It's gone out the internet and come back again. So that's good. But what if we want a HTML part to our message? Well, we actually don't have to do anything in the mailer itself. We just create a new file, call it welcome email HTML ERB, and then we'll just copy this over in the right file and give it a little bit of markup, nothing special. Put a H1 tag here, put these in paragraphs, put the message that the guy typed in a paragraph, and down here paragraph, and we'll just make this strong so that we can see that it's working. And that's it. So now we can just go back to our users object. We'll create a new user, send it to the same guy, see if he notices he's getting more than one sign up. Type in a message here that's now HTMLized. Good. Hit create, and should be success. It is. Jump back to the console. We'll just make sure that everything's good. And there we go. We've now got a multi-part message. You can see it's set it to multi-part alternative automatically for us. Set the first part to text plain with our plain text message, and then set the second part to text HTML, and there's our HTMLized markup. So jumping into the mail, and there it is, our nice HTMLized email message. You can look at the source here. It'll be the same as a console with some extra stuff from the delivery agents. But yeah, looks good. So now we jump back into the message. And what if we want to send an attachment like our master services agreement? Well, we just type attachments, give it a file name, and then we just pass in the file. Now, Mail and ActionMailer will actually recognize that this is a PDF document and set all the MIME types and this sort of thing appropriately. And that's literally all we need to do, just that line. So then we jump back into Google Chrome, whack in the new and create a new message. We'll send another one to this same guy. He must be getting sick of us by now. And here is our master services agreement. Good. Create it. And it's gone. So let's jump into the console and have a look there. And we'll scroll up, and there we are, base64 encoded PDF file. Now if we go into the headers here, we'll see that it's actually worked out that it's a multi-part mixed document now, and it's an attachment. And we scroll all the way down here, and then here's another part which is multi-part alternative, which actually contains our message. And Mail's done all that on the fly and figured it all out for you, created a complex nested email, right, with pretty much only typing one line of code. And the mail was sent. So let's jump into the email program and see if we've got our message, and there it is. Scroll down a bit, and there it is, our master services agreement, all good. PDF has arrived, and it's an attachment, as you can see there. All right. But what if we're going to send non-US ASCII? What happens then? Well, seeing as we're just sending the message in, let's just type some Japanese characters into the message field and see what happens. So we'll send yet another email to this same guy, off to Michael Linzer. There we are. And our email address. And let's type Konnichiwa, Michael-san. Konnichi, I think. Yep, Chiwa. Okay, good. Michael-san. Let's type that in. And we'll just send that. And it's gone. Message is there in the right thing. If we look in our console, and we'll see that it's actually set the email message to a quoted printable. And notice how it hasn't actually encoded the US ASCII. It's only encoded the Japanese characters. And same on the plain text one. And we're still multi-part alternative. So it's only selectively encoded. And yep, that was sent. So let's jump into our mail program. And good, there we are. Konnichiwa, Michael-san. So that was nice and easy. But another thing you tend to do a lot of in emails is need to set other headers. So let's set a reply to. We'll whack it in here. Set a reply to, and we'll set that to inquiries. And then we also want to put a tracking code in. So, you know, we want to know what time the email was sent or some other arbitrary thing. We can set an X header here. You put it in a string so that you can keep the formatting. Mail will honor the formatting of your header fields, and we'll just pass 2S on this time now to I because a field expects a string. Now those defaults appear on anything, so what we want to do is if we want to set a separate type of header per method, we put it down here in the mail method. So we'll set our sender, we'll make that system@rubyx.com. So the sender field is now different from the defaults on this particular thing. So we'll send another email, and this should have all the fields set. And we'll send that. Good. Jump into the field and scroll up a bit. And there we go. So you can see the reply to is set okay. And the sender is set. And down here, our X timecode. There we are. We're good. But another thing of mail is being able to set on the object, because we no longer have these magic methods. So we can take deliver off here, and we can just assign the return value of the modifier to an instance variable, and then we can actually set headers directly on this object. So let's set the host that was sent. So we'll call it xhost, and we'll just make that the request host. And now we need to call deliver on the mail object itself to make sure it sends. So we'll save that. So this is just going to set the header to the request host, and then we'll just deliver the message. So now we'll jump back in here, create a new user. Same thing again. And this should set our host field. Create that, all successful, and we'll jump back into the console and we have a look, scroll up a bit, and there it is, host 127.0.0.1. You can also see that all the other headers were preserved. It doesn't overwrite anything. So that's your whirlwind tour of the new ActionMailer API. I hope you enjoyed it. Please read below and have a look at some of the other features. I go into a bit more depth onto various things and show you other options and how to override defaults and this sort of thing. Thanks very much for watching, and enjoy.